right now, about 85% of our total revenue as a company comes through memberships. It's a significant portion. There's a lot that say, yeah, that makes sense financially, and that's what I want to do.
Hey, Smart Chiropractors, welcome to the Smart Chiropractor Show and our featured guest segment on today's episode. Today, we have a guest who I have known via the internet for quite a few years, but this is our first opportunity to actually sit down and chat. We are fortunate to be in the presence of Dr. Steve Knauf, VP of Chiropractic and Compliance at The Joint. Steve, thanks for taking a few moments and chatting with us today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
It is our pleasure. I always like to get a little bit of origin story. We were talking pre-roll. You said you've been following Smart Chiro, evidence-based chiro for a little while here. So that would tell me you are a newer doc because we're young guys over here. So trace back the origin story a little bit. What got you interested not only in chiropractic to begin with, but what stimulated the role that you have today at The Joint?
Yeah, so I guess a little bit about my origin story. How I got into chiropractic, it was actually in college. So I had a tennis injury in my elbow, blew it out senior year of high school, went into college. I was just playing recreational tennis and had to stop. And one of my friends on the team said, you should go see my chiropractor and get that checked out. And I was like, are you crazy? That's my elbow. That has nothing to do with my neck or back. Like, why would I do that? But by that point, I had tried medical doctors, I tried PTs, and essentially the answer was, you're not ever going to play as much as you want. You just need to kind of deal with it. So I gave it a shot, went to the chiropractor, had a series of visits, and then I was back playing tennis. And I was like, man, that's amazing. Who wouldn't want to do that for other people? And so that's what really got me into the chiropractic path. Beyond that, getting to where I am today, graduated chiropractic school, went to Northwestern up in Bloomington, Minnesota, graduated from there. Day after graduation, my wife and I were in a moving van to Arizona because I wanted to stay married. I followed her and came to Arizona, which is where the Joint Chiropractic has quite a large presence. That's where it got its start. Started private practice for all of 2 months, renting space out of another chiropractor's spot. That's when ASH hit in Arizona, if you're familiar with American Specialty Health. It was really hard to navigate and I was having a bad time. So I learned about The Joint, gave it a try, dipped my toe in. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to like this or not. Ended up loving it. And 11 years later, here we are.
Hey, Doc, the money is in your list. If you're not utilizing weekly email newsletters to drive reactivations into your practice, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. To schedule a demo and see how we help hundreds of docs do this each and every week, go to thesmartchiropractor.com today. Again, that is thesmartchiropractor.com. Schedule a demo with our team. But right now, we'll get back into this awesome interview on Interviews by the Smart Chiropractor.
Well, let's dig deep. I love your story. I know that there's a lot of confusion in the profession about The Joint, starting with your name, let alone your policies, pricing. Help us understand or, share with us directly from the source, how do you see your role in the profession? What do you sort of say about the common criticisms of people who probably don't understand the intention behind why you do what you do and the decisions that you make? What is it that you think most people in the profession don't really know about The Joint that they should know?
Yeah, that's a big question. And having been around for 11 years, I think I've heard just about everything to be said about The Joint at this point possible, whether it's, going to seminars or practicing within the clinic or meeting other doctors. You never know what that reception is going to be. I will say, though, that it has been improving quite a bit over time. So that is the really nice thing. Especially when you look at what are we truly trying to do? And that's your question. And it's always been getting people access to chiropractic care. It's looking at all the hurdles that exist in healthcare, and in our case, specifically chiropractic. And how do we address some of those to get people to, one, try chiropractic, or two, continue with chiropractic care at a frequency that they should be receiving it at, whether they can't afford it, they don't have the time for it. Whatever that hurdle is, we look at all of those, and then the Joint Chiropractic simply looks to get rid of those so that people get that access to care. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the foundation for the business model, the reason why we franchise, really the reason for the full business.
That makes sense. And I would love to get into some of the business model and memberships. We're going to dive in there in a moment. But before we do, tell us a little bit more about your role there. My understanding is I'm going to say you're the highest ranking chiropractor in the organization. Is that true? And what sort of the day-to-day look like for you?
Yeah, I guess that would be the case. There's no chiropractor that I report to in the company. So yeah, my role and what my team does, it's more my team than anybody else. We're responsible for everything chiropractic. And when you're a chiropractic franchise, that's a lot of different areas of the business. So my team's really very busy, whether that's creating content and training around chiropractic and what we do in our clinics, whether that's for non-doctors or doctors practicing. We look at developing programs to help support the profession, comes out of my team. So that's, our scholarship programs or what we give back to associations or schools. We deal heavily in PR and marketing. We help with our careers team to get interest in becoming a doctor with a joint. What are the career paths that are even available? Is it just clinical? And it's not. That's kind of one of the cool things is there's a lot of different variations in how you can be a chiropractor with this group because of our size. And so really almost every aspect of the business, you will find that my team has some kind of hand, whether it's the super fun policy and procedure and compliance or the day-to-day treating patients. My team has definitely a hand in that.
That is awesome. One of the things I'd love to learn more, as Jeff implied just a moment ago, is, and you mentioned as well, two things. One is, what is unique about your marketing, and how is your business model aligned with that uniqueness? Your prices are less than most. I know you have membership options. Could you go into detail about your membership program and how that relates and aligns with your unique marketing that's also different than the way most chiropractors are messaging their message out into the community?
Yeah, great. Got some big questions today. It's awesome. Love it. So let's start with the marketing aspect. And hopefully our CMO isn't listening to this, because this is how I break it down. Back when we first started, we've had an evolution in marketing. When we first started, it was really about the services and the pricing. And that's what we went out with. We said, hey, we're a chiropractor. Also, we're affordable. We're open nights and weekends. Why wouldn't you try us? So it was really just focused on our differentiators as a business. But what you've seen, or what you've hopefully seen over our evolution, is we've really started to shift that marketing mindset into what are we doing to help our patients? And it's patient focused. So we're letting our patient stories be put out at the forefront of all of our marketing materials. So any of our big awareness, national awareness campaigns, it's about the impact that chiropractic has had on a patient's life, whether that's alleviating pain or getting them back into their day-to-day or helping them be a coach for their kids' sports. And it's really more reflective of what you see all good chiropractors in this profession do. You don't focus on, I'm going to get you feeling better just because of the pain. There's other aspects of your life that are impacted because of your poor health. And let me help you connect those dots and how we're improving that. So that's really the same kind of story that you're seeing in our story arc. Now, of course, there's pricing and services in there as well, but that's not really the main theme that we're putting out there anymore. There was a second part to that question. I only got through the first part.
Perfect. All right. So I'll follow up. Can you break down not just what your pricing, and specifically, I am curious about your membership option. What is normal? What's common? And what's the motivation behind the membership offer and option? And how is it received? What's different about people who say, yes, I'll join the membership versus, I'll pay you per visit each time? What do you notice to be your experience with all of that?
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting ride, and like everything, how people pay for their services has evolved with this company as well. But memberships has always been at the heart of this business since it was refounded in 2010. Actually, prior to that, there was no membership model. The Joint Chiropractic before was the bigger Joint Chiropractic was actually just a pay per visit. It was $20 a visit, and that was the only price option that they had. Over time, we've started to expand that menu, and now we offer a wellness plan membership, which gets you up to 4 visits a month, and then you get additional visits at a discounted price if you need more, which most patients do at the initial stages of care. We'd also have another membership, which we call our Flex Plan, and that's more of a true concierge style membership where you pay a monthly fee and then you get access to discount visits throughout the month. It doesn't come with any visits attached to it. We've got packages. So I think that's pretty common for a lot of cash practices, whether it's 5, 10, 15, or 20 is typical package amounts for visits. And then we just have pay as you go. So walk in, pay as you go visit rate. And all of those are obviously scaled differently on price per visit. So really what we cater to is the membership model. And that's for a lot of reasons. The biggest one being is that it's our mission to improve quality of life through routine and affordable chiropractic care. We want it to be easy for people to access care, and memberships to us is one of the easiest ways to do that. So again, eliminates the hurdles and makes that more possible for more patients.
Let me just follow up on that. Can you comment on the difference in the type of people who say, yes, let's do the membership versus those that go, no, I'm just going to do per visit? Is there a difference in their psychology? And is there a difference in their experience, their outcomes, their frequency? What's the difference?
Yeah, good question. So I would say we've not broken it down by demographics. So you get a wide spread of utilization of who purchases a membership versus who doesn't. And maybe I'll back up just a second to give you kind of an idea of what is our patient base, because it's not typical of what's out in the profession right now. Our average patient age is actually 36 years old. And that continues to skew younger and younger every year that we do our patient research. Our highest growth sectors are millennials and Gen Zers. That's where we're growing the fastest with our patients. And right now, another way to kind of help get an idea of who purchases memberships, about 85% of our total revenue as a company comes through memberships. So it's a significant portion. The other 15% are on any of those other plans that I talked about previously. So there's a lot that say, yeah, that makes sense financially, and that's what I want to do 85% of the time.
That is super powerful. Jason and I are big fans of memberships, recurring revenue. We think it's a great business model that far too few chiropractors have really embraced. I'm going to ask you a little bit of a chicken and egg. You stepped into this one a little bit, saying 85%. The Joint is arguably the biggest chiropractic franchise that's ever been out there in terms of probably patients seen, certainly in terms of revenue, publicly traded company. Do you believe that memberships have been a driver for that? Or do you believe that these are it just so happens that's the case? Because you're saying 85% of revenue is through memberships. We look at chiros and we're like 99% of most chiros practices is fee for service. You're the complete opposite. Is it a anomaly that has also resulted in the growth? Or do you think that those things, there is a causal relationship there?
I do think it is part of the reason for our growth and our success. From a business perspective, one of the best things about the membership model is, in typical cash practices, without that, you can have really great months and you can have really down months. And it's sometimes hard to predict where you're going to go. That adds a lot of stress as a business owner, and that can make life little more tough. And one of the things that we noticed earlier in our days, we had a lot of clinic owners and clinic teams selling packages or just that walk-in visit because they thought, well, that was more revenue to the bottom line. Why wouldn't I try to sell that versus a membership, which is less per visit? And really the idea of why you want to sell a membership is it smooths out those peaks and valleys in your financial performance month over month. And what you end up doing is you create a really predictable, scalable chiropractic clinic business because you understand how many memberships you have. You understand the dollars associated with those memberships. You know the terms of the membership. And so you can start to draw out where your performance is going to be without having this larger instability where it's a pay per visit.
Hey, it's Dr. Jason. I just want to take a brief moment and invite you to schedule a demo with our team to learn more about our patient pilot automated email campaigns. They are the smartest way to reactivate the people you've seen over the years in the past. Check it out, schedule a demo. We look forward to helping you help more people and piloting your patients back into your practice. Now back to our show. We completely agree. We thank you for actually sharing the insights. This is very much what we believe the profession should be pivoting towards. Can you get into more detail, as in, is it easier for people to say yes to a membership, and what impact does it have having, I guess, predictable amount of members versus sort of the requirement of always needing new people to come in through what becomes a revolving door, where I don't know if you have any data on what percentage of people, I guess, sign up for memberships that come in. I know you're saying 85% of the revenue, but what percentage of people say that makes sense to me, and maybe even go so far as to say, I don't know why other chiropractors haven't offered this in the past. What are your thoughts? Because it seems as if you have a certain amount of members that you don't need to have to market for new patients all the time, because they're not coming and going, they're coming and mostly staying.
Just because you have a membership model actually doesn't guarantee you success. And so I think that's really important for any chiropractor thinking about going into a membership model. You still have to deliver value. You still have to deliver a great patient experience. Otherwise, they're going to stop coming. We call it attrition in the profession. It's patient retention. And you're going to start losing more patients than you're getting new patients. And then you're in some kind of trouble at that point with your business. And so that's just, a word of warning. Your experience has to exceed the perceived value for what patients are paying to access your clinic. Now, outside of that, the other benefits of the membership model is it does help keep people on care longer. One of the things that that a lot of chiropractors face is patient retention. We're the same. Our ability to educate patients on chiropractic, the benefits of it, we're impacted by poor education or communication just as much as any other chiropractor out there. So again, just because you get that initial yes up front doesn't mean that your success is guaranteed, because you need to continue to add that value as patients go through your model. Now, one of the unique things about the Joint is we have really high new patient numbers. And that is in part, I would say, because we do have a lot of patients and we do have a big opportunity on continuing patient education and getting to understand the value of wellness care, maintenance, or ongoing chiropractic care. Again, just like everyone else. But really our continued success and our growth really is still fueled by our ability to get new patients, whether that's through referrals, SEO, online marketing, which I know is a huge focus for you and your team. That still remains our number one avenue for patient acquisition. Closely followed behind that is what everyone would guess. It's patient referrals. Again, you got to deliver a great experience. Otherwise, your new patients are going to trickle off. The other part of your question, Jason, that you asked is, about how often are people saying yes to the membership? And as a new patient, it's usually around that 50, 55, maybe 60% mark that people as a new patient are saying yes. Of course, you get a lot of reoccurring patients where they'll feel better and they'll say, see you later, and they cancel their membership. And then in 4 months, they're back in your doors because headaches are back or neck pain's back or whatever it is. And so then they'll see you again for another short period of care. So you do have a cyclical nature in this business as well.
That makes a lot of sense. I got a quick question for you here, and this is a data one, but just so docs listening and watching have an understanding of the scale. How many practices roughly are a part of the Joint currently? And is it US based or worldwide?
So currently we're over 750 locations in 38 different states at this point. we are looking at international. So our goal by the end of 2023 is to hit 1,000 clinics. So we're not far off the mark, but we've got some work to get there. Certainly being international will help some of that portfolio. We just recently started to open up on Army and Air Force bases. I don't know if you've seen that, but we've signed a contract with the DoD, which is not an easy process to get on bases. I think we started that in like 2017. But those are all plans for our future growth and expansion. And I think one of the crazy stats with that is when you look at all the franchises that exist, your McDonald's, Burger King's, Chick-fil-A's, Great Clips, Sports Clips, all those different franchises that exist. If we get to 1,000, we'll be one of about just under 100 brands in franchising to hit that mark. So it is a huge milestone to be able to hit 1,000 units in any franchise. Like it rarely happens. But here we are in chiropractic, which who would have ever thought? That's the one that's going to make it, and it's really exciting.
I'm going to say bravo to you. It's super impressive. I know we don't have a lot of time left, but I want to get as much information out and so our people can learn. You mentioned obviously that whether you want to call it patient education or ongoing connection, relationship building, primarily through the internet. What is your sort of unique approach to, people come in, they feel better, they get adjusted. How do you teach them more about the benefits of chiropractic care? Is it, table side only? Is it, in the practice only? Is it online? If so, in what format?
Yeah, it's largely based with the experience in the clinic. One of the things that I think about, if I were to open a chiropractic clinic tomorrow, what are some of the things that, I wish I'd known back when I started in my private practice? It's you need to spend time understanding technology that's out there, and it moves so quickly. Your patient interactions at this point can't be limited to your in-clinic interactions. To be top of mind with your patients is really important. Everyone's fighting for mental real estate at this point, and it's being present on social media, and it's emails, it's drip campaigns, it's SMS texting campaigns. You need to be up and in front of your audience at all times so that you're top of mind and they think about, oh, hey, it's Thursday. It's time to go to my chiropractor. Otherwise, life gets in everybody's way. They forget about you. And if you don't have a strategy for that, especially in the very near term, it's going to be very difficult to run a successful practice, I believe. And so, yes, right now, a lot of it's based in clinic, but we are putting a lot of focus on how do we leverage our data from all the patient visits that we have in our system to continue to engage with patients outside of our four walls.
That is fantastic. Steve, thank you so much. I also want to say, I'm going to give public recognition here. We wrote an article highlighting some of what we could find about the Joint online. You reached out. That's what started our relationship. And I really appreciate you taking the time to reach out then. I appreciate the time you've spent communicating back and forth since then. And definitely the time you've taken out of your day today to share what it's really like on the inside. I know there's many more questions that all of us have, but that'll be in part 2. We'll leave it here today. Steve, thank you for everything you do. Thanks for taking time out of your day for coming on and chatting with us.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching this video on The Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.